welcome. It's really great to have you here. We're really excited about what we're going to talk about, and we're excited about the prospect of you all being involved. I'd like to start, I guess, by acknowledging the original storytellers of the land which we're meeting on today, the traditional owners, and pay my respects to their elders past and present. And introduce you to my wonderful colleagues here. Actually, I'll let everyone do their own intro. Donna, if you want to go ahead and let people know who you are.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Donna Chang. I'm acting commissioning editor of SBS in Scripted.
Katherine, I know who you are, but you can introduce yourself. Yes.
I'm Katherine Slattery, and I'm the manager of fiction development at FilmVic.
And I'm Alicia Brown, and I manage the production investment projects or programs in Film Victoria. So as you can see, we're kind of split between Donna and Katherine are the really good story people, and I'm the kind of more production-y kind of person. So that's kind of how we'll divide, I guess, the information that we're going to give you today. And I'd be really encourage you to send through any questions you have as we go. I'm not sure where in the Facebook they should go, but there should be something around.
Just point in every direction and they'll get there, yeah.
Around here. So pop your questions in and we'll do our best to get to them, and we'll definitely get to all of them. And if we don't get to all of them, we will follow up with them after this. So we'll start chatting, and as I said, please send through any questions you have as they come to you. I think the first thing to do, I guess, to clarify and have a chat about with Originate, the low budget feature program we've just launched, is to really get into the nuts and bolts of what we're looking for. And I'll do a bit about eligibility, guys, and I'm going to throw to you for story because you are the story gurus. So it's very kind of basic terms where I guess we're looking for underrepresented voices in this field, and we're looking for people who identify with one of the 5 diversity pillars that we have in our FilmVic action plan, and that's called LGBTQIA, gender equity and diversity, First Peoples, and living with a disability. And so that's the voices that we want to hear from. When you do apply, it's tick box, so you can give us as much or as little information as you like. There's no pressure to sort of, share anything that you're not comfortable with sharing, or you can share as much as you're comfortable sharing. So that's the kind of the base level eligibility for people we want to hear from with this initiative. And I guess what we're looking for in terms of story, over to Katherine.
Yes, that's a really good point though, Alicia, just about the eligibility. And I think, it's become really apparent to us in terms of people applying, and we've talked about this before with Donna as well, that the tick box is the option to kind of determine eligibility, but then beyond that, you can offer what you feel comfortable with regarding your diversity. In terms of story, I guess we outlined this in the guidelines to kind of lift out from those, but we want bold, innovative storytelling. We want things that are going to kind of create cut through. The materials required are only a page. So you only need to give us a page synopsis. You don't need to have already written the screenplay. And hopefully that might mean that a lot of people who are listening now might go, yeah, I've got 4 weeks. I'm going to write that idea down. Please do. It's only a page, but we do want the whole story. So don't just give us like the start of it. Give us the beginning, middle, and end. Maybe it's 3-act, maybe it's a 4-act structure. But give us the whole story on that one page. And yeah, try and push through and think about the story in terms of, some of those local comps that have been in this low budget space. We were talking about that before, but things like Samson and Delilah, 52 Tuesdays, The Babadook, low budget films, high impact. They really spoke to a domestic and an international audience. So, and I guess the other point there about story, lifting up from the guidelines as well, we require practitioners to be identified as diverse, but we don't need the story to necessarily be a story about inclusion or diversity. I mean, it can be, that's great, we would welcome it, but it's not a prerequisite in terms of the themes or the story you're exploring. So they're probably the top line considerations for me. Donna?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, go on. No, go.
I just wanted to kind of mirror like Katherine's enthusiasm. So if you are thinking of applying, please do, because it's such a beautiful, unique opportunity to get your work made. From an SBS point of view, we're really involved because of the amazing kind of talent development, that this program offers, and also giving, underrepresented practitioners a platform for their work. So we really want, the film that gets made to, go out, get accolades, go to festivals, and, eventually at the end of its little journey, come back and end up on SBS World Movies and SBS On Demand. Kind of because we're always, looking forward to kind of putting more local content on SBS World Movies in particular. I think people often think that, when SBS is involved in something, because we are a public broadcaster, people think, oh, you have to kind of play it safe. But that's not really how we think about story. We have a kind of mantra in here, which is, provocative, but with purpose. So we really encourage people to be bold. We want people to surprise us. So just, we don't need it to be necessarily like worthy or earnest or social issue-y, even though if that's what it is, that's totally fine. But, just come to us with your best ideas. Don't feel kind of, beholden to any sort of, some of the programming that we've done before. Just come in and just present us your best stuff.
Yeah.
And Donna, do you reckon is it because the creatives involved speak to the SBS Charter? It doesn't necessarily content.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
And Katherine, I was going to ask you too. Do you see many? I'm just thinking about people reversioning ideas they may have.
Yeah.
Do you see many projects coming through, say, project development, where you think, you know what, this is pitched as a series, but it really sits better in the feature space?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, and I think that probably takes a level of self-diagnosis that maybe some people aren't quite ready for. But if you do have an idea, a lot of TV writers, I think sometimes people start to be in silos of creatives where they do start to determine, oh, I'm just features writer or I'm just a TV writer. And in this instance, I'd really encourage people who maybe have historically identified as TV writers to think about this initiative, because maybe they do have one idea that can't sustain multiple episodes or multiple series, but it really fits neatly within a kind of this format, and it's one story that has a containment, because TV is the perennial middle ground, really. You're sort of staying in that middle act, but some people do have stories that will really fit this. So I'd love to see applications from people who have different TV writing backgrounds or writing backgrounds online, wherever. As Donna says, come with your best story. Yeah.
And can people apply as individuals or in teams, or does it have to be a combination of both? Or
they can do both. Yeah, they can do both. I mean, the first phase of the initiative is directed more at writers, and the applicant is the writer. But ultimately, yes, a lot of the time people have already hooked up with it. They are a writer-director themselves, or they've already hooked up with a director, or they've hooked up with a producing team. Absolutely. We'd love to see applications from people who are any combination of that, but the first place we're starting is with the idea and the writer. And in the event that you're a writer but you don't have a director attached and you're part of the second and third phases, that's something that Donna and Angeli and Rob and all the other mentors will be working with those people to assist, to partner them with the right fit for the project.
I've got the first curly question. I don't really know the answer to this, but let's give it a try. Okay, so does the film need to be shot in Victoria or set in Victoria, or can the location be in a different state? And I guess that kind of speaks towards the production side of things more. So I would say, look, yes is the answer to that. Like,
I think it is.
It doesn't have to be, well, you might want to shoot it in Victoria even if you've set it somewhere else, but no, I wouldn't be limited to. For us, it's about the creatives involved and those above the line, writers, directors and producers who we can really sort of elevate into this space. So yeah, the answer to that is yes. I reckon we should probably dive into the structure a little bit. Donna, I want to come to you and sort of talk about how SBS will be involved, but Katherine, maybe you could start by talking about the sort of writer phases, the development phase, so stage one.
Okay, yeah, no problems. So it is in the guidelines. So even though it is a little tedious working through paperwork, I would encourage you to have a little look at those. But ostensibly, it's 3 phases. The first phase, as I mentioned, you're determined that you're eligible from a diversity point of view. You've got your 1-pager, brilliant, fill out the form. Then there's a seminar portion, which is with Angeli, our wonderful internationally renowned developer who has such a sensational track record in working with diverse storytellers at an international level. And she has done something not dissimilar to this in the UK and with outstanding outcomes. So we're really lucky to have her on board. So she works with teams in that first phase, open to everyone. I mean, I honestly can say this, we are really interested in everyone please applying, because we can accommodate quite a considerable amount of people, particularly in this first phase. So that first phase is 3 weeks. It's 6 sessions with Angeli online talking about craft, how to work within a low budget framework, and kind of just, really a bit of a revisiting of how to break story in a lot of ways. And then the second phase, which people will have to reapply for, is when we select 6 teams to work in a more intensive way with Angeli and Donna and Arenamedia and a number of other people to really break their individual story and kind of work through the bespoke needs of their project in a more intensive fashion. And then from that, 3 teams are selected to go on to the intensive version, which is a 3-month, very intensive series of sessions, which will be kind of redrafting the screenplay into a production-ready draft.
Yeah.
So, and then it's over to you.
Yeah, so from those 3 teams, then we're going to greenlight 1 film at the moment in this pilot phase, hopefully do a lot more than that. But sort of the pilot phase is what we've committed to. And I guess the intensive development sort of dovetails with the production in that at that point things get pretty bespoke, like the individual needs of each project, although each of those 3 projects are going to be catered for, like maybe one needs a casting workshop, maybe one needs mentor direct, whatever it is that they need. That's kind of when we'll get into that sort of late stage development verging on production sort of area. And then Donna, can you tell us a bit about how you're going to be involved, like from
Yeah, I think together with, you guys at Film Vic and Arenamedia SBS will be part of the selection phase at kind of each of the phases, selection process of each of the phases. But I think this is what makes this initiative so fantastic, is that, you've got the filmmakers will have just so much support around them, development support, story support with Angeli as well. And, we're all kind of going on this journey together. So it's not an isolating development process. You've got us all with development knowledge and market knowledge to kind of really help these projects thrive. So that's what's so exciting about it.
All right. Question here, maybe actually for me. If you've made micro-budget self-funded features, do you consider that to be a feature credit? We've had a lot of discussion about this, and I think when we say no more than 1 produced feature and or no more than 2 for producers, I guess, and this is not to diminish micro-budget features at all, but I guess we are talking about features made at a certain level with a certain level of budget, and that is really just to not discount anybody who has been really honing in their skills and cutting kind of, like honing their craft in a really micro budget space. And this would be a really great progression for you as well, to have a fully funded feature and a development path that's really sort of well scaffolded and well planned out. Because not to diminish micro budget features. So the answer to that is that no, like more than 1 micro budget feature will likely not disqualify you. But there is a bit of nuance around that, so maybe have a chat with us about that individually. But it shouldn't disqualify you. Yep. All right. Talking about budgets, I was really keen to communicate, I guess, that even though we are talking about stories that can be told in the 1.5 million range, and I say that because 1.5 million will what the film will be funded to, but you can actually raise more than that. So there is a bit of leeway on, but it's around that level. And I guess I wanted to be really clear about that doesn't necessarily limit the scale of your vision. It just means that you have to be really innovative about it. Like I was thinking about films, like I was thinking, could Gravity have been told on a $1.7 million budget? It likely could, if you think about what it was and you think about the treatment, there could have been a treatment of that. Like it was minimal cast, you didn't have to have those big space. Look, I was just thinking about that. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you think about the creative elements that you can pull together to make things work. Lady Macbeth is another really good example, I think, of a budget, a film that I guess really handpicked creative elements that would give it a really distinct advantage in the low budget space. Like Lady Macbeth was an adaptation of an out of copyright novel. It was 1 location. It was a super contained cast, and it was a breakthrough performance for Florence Pugh. Do you know? And so I think that was made for about $1.2 million or something similar. But like it's sort of like thinking about The Quiet Place, I guess, is another story I think that could have been told in a low budget space, minimal cast, everything implied in terms of the terror and the thriller nature of it. Like there were a few big set pieces, but it could have all been implied. So I guess I'm keen to sort of encourage people, don't limit the scale of your vision, amp up the innovation.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that plays out in terms of genre selection as well, because I think to Donna's earlier point, I think sometimes people can make an assumption that, the kind of combination of SBS and Film Vic and all the rest of it, we're only interested in drama or we're only interested in a particular genre. And I really would love people to think, we're very open to comedy or sci-fi or horror or whatever, but really just and that's right, not limiting yourself when you first kind of commit pen to paper, but just keeping in mind that there will be budget considerations. That's very much part of this. But, there are ways to deliver a whole range of genres in a low budget framework. So, yeah.
You're going to do gravity, you won't get the VFX, but you
get a flexible board. Donna,
do you have any comps? Or not comps, do you have any examples of films that worked well?
I mean, kind of like Lady Beth, which I think was actually made out, this film was made under the same program, I think, in the UK, but God's Own Country is a beautiful, story, set on a farm, I think in Yorkshire, and it was just, one location. I think they had a tiny budget, but it just got all these accolades because the performances were just so striking and moving, and it was a gorgeous film. And I think we're looking also for stories that just kind of speak to emotion and heart, and we want to kind of know that these films have an audience, that you can kind of connect with these characters, so you don't but also like Alicia and Katherine have said, we're really interested in ways that you kind of can innovate with story, at this budget level. So we're really open.
Is there anything on? Well, I know you said you didn't want people to think too much about world movies when they're working on this, but is there anything on the platform that's like?
That I can't really think.
I just put you on the spot.
Moment.
Everything that's on the platform, Donna.
Everything's good. Everything's good on SBS World Movies. No, but for us, it'd just be great to kind of get some more Australian content on there.
Yeah, fair enough. Catherine, question for you, Catherine. Can you submit more than one pitch? Can you apply twice?
Yes, I'll try and be as clear as possible. On the form, okay, so broadly we would love people to really own their best idea and give us only their best idea. And I think that actually takes a discipline that's really important in this way too, which is I'm going to put the one I think is ready. However, if you feel you have two equally good ideas, you are a single writer applicant, there is scope to do that on the form. But we encourage you, much like the earlier point you were making about micro budget, if you've had a couple of micro budgets, are you eligible? Probably a good idea to connect with Sarah Pratt, our Program Services Officer, first, just to talk about the logistics of it. But yes, I'm doing a long-winded answer, aren't I? Yes, you can, but talk to us first. And also, if you have two separate teams and you both want to come in, again, speak to us. But we really are wanting to accommodate everybody. Yeah. So we'll try as hard as we can to get you to be part of, particularly this first phase.
Yeah, I think that's really key, isn't it? Like there seems to be a bit of nuance that we're talking about, but it is because like we want everyone to be able to get involved. So there's no sort of hard and fast answers.
Yeah.
I reckon that's it. I think we should wrap up. Yeah. I think unless there's anything else that you guys wanted to add.
No, I just think, if you're thinking about it, just do it. If I was like, it was 10 years ago, I would have died for something like this to happen because, you're kind of working with your friends who are filmmakers and, this is just kind of the whole package. You get all this development support and production support. So please, if you are thinking about it, this is your sign to do it.
I totally agree, Donna. And I think also, unless it hasn't been apparent enough, I just really want people to come with your idea. It doesn't have to be perfect. Please come and be part of this first phase, which is really going to be such an incredible value add. Hearing from Anjali, I promise you'll get so much out of it. Whether you feel like stage 2 and 3 are right for you, but please do apply. We'd really love to see as many of your gorgeous ideas as possible.
All right, awesome. Hey, if we haven't gotten to your question or if you've got anything else, add it to the, I'm looking at where this should go, comments in the Facebook Live. You can tell that I'm not really au fait with Facebook Live, but yeah, there's a comment section, add the questions there and we'll come back to you on it. But otherwise, thank you. And honestly, do what Donna and Katherine are saying, like get in there.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.